Hello, in this video, we will take a look at how do we debug in PowerShell ISE. So there are three ways we can actually set a breakpoint in PowerShell that helps us with the debugging. First, the line breakpoint. This helps you to stop the debugger at a specific line. Second, the variable breakpoint. This helps you to stop the debugger session when a value of a particular variable changes. And the last, we have a command breakpoint. It helps to stop the debugger when a particular command is about to execute. Now, out of these three, line breakpoint is the only debugging option which can be set from the PowerShell ISE UI. The other two options can be set by using the set ps breakpoint command. So let's dive in to the PowerShell and understand debugging. Here, now we are in PowerShell. I have a string manipulation PowerShell open, which I have used in one of my previous videos of PowerShell series. I do have a PowerShell script that really has a bunch of lines. I also have a function called set to uppercase. I'm passing a string variable. I'm converting it to the uppercase and I'm returning it. Okay, so now let's first understand how do we actually set a specific breakpoint at a specific line. So let us say I would like to set a breakpoint on line number 17. So we'll go ahead and move our mouse on the 17 line, do a right click, and you can click on toggle breakpoint. So let's click on toggle breakpoint. It is toggled. So now if we run this, it will execute all the way from line number 1 to line number 17, and then it will halt at line number 17 because we have a breakpoint set. Let's go ahead, hit run, and you can see it has halted here, which is getting highlighted. We can also see the line breakpoint on 17, and the session is now changed to dbg, which is more on the debugging session. So how this actually helps here, when you hover over your mouse on a specific variable, you can also see a value that they have been assigned, right? So string 1 is having this as a test string. Let's see what the string 2 has. The string 2 currently does not have any string assigned because we have made the string 2 initialize as blank, and this line is not currently executed. You can also use the console window to debug them. To debug, simply type in the variable name. You will see the string 1 is still, this is a test string. If you will provide str2, we should get blank. We can actually press F5 to resume. Once we press F5, all the remaining lines get executed because we do not have any other breakpoint. Let's say I also want a breakpoint on line number 41 as well. Right click, toggle breakpoint. Now we have it on 41. Let's go ahead, hit run. It stops at 17. F5 again stops at 41. You can see that message. Again F5, and it will execute the rest of the statement. Okay. You also have a capability, just right click and disable a breakpoint. If you disable a breakpoint, it still highlights you, which is kind of useful if you would like to re-enable the breakpoints which you have been working on. So that way you can also use it. This is for line number 41. You can do the same for this as well. And if you really disable them, what this really means is when you run, it will not stop at those debugging points because they are actually disabled. Let's remove the breakpoints for now. Now let's put a breakpoint at line number 13. Let's toggle this. Let's hit run. And obviously now we have breakpoint in line number 13. Okay. So let's go ahead and use get ps breakpoint. And you will see it indicates that the script is, of course, the current script string manipulation ps1. Breakpoint is at line number 13. It is not a command breakpoint and it is not a variable breakpoint. It's the line breakpoint, and that's why we see 13. An ID is something which is assigned internally by PowerShell. We can also set the breakpoint using set ps breakpoint. We have to specify a script. So a script is inside the specific directory. So I'm just gonna specify the path for this script, which is string manipulation ps1, and then we specify line. And let's say I would like to add a breakpoint on line number 21. You specify, hit enter, and now you see the breakpoint has been also added on line number 21. So now if we again execute get ps breakpoint, we get two breakpoints, line number 13 as well as line number 21. Okay, now let's see, we are currently at line number 13, and let's see what do we get when we go with the step over, and what do we get when we go with step into. So first we'll go with F10, and then let's see the behavior. So I am going with F10, which is going for F10, which is going to the next line. This helps you to debug the scripts line by line. I'm again 10, which is going to the next line, and so on. I'm just gonna execute this by hitting F5, and all lines are executed. Now let us see what happens when we use step into. This debug option, we are talking about step into, which is F11 is a shortcut. So let's hit F11 on keyboard. It goes to the next line, F11, next line. Now see the difference. When I hit F11, it gets into the function, right? This is step into. So F11, F11, F11 comes back and then resumes. So the difference between step into and step over is that if you have a function, the step into actually gets into the function, whereas the step over actually executes just the function and then proceeds from the next line. That's the core difference. Okay, let's hit F5, and all other lines are executed successfully. So I hope this simple example helped you to understand how do we set a breakpoint, disable the breakpoint, and how can you also set and get the breakpoints through PowerShell. What is the difference between step into and step over in debugging sessions? I thank you for watching the video.